Invictus, my kings, and welcome back to the Total War Shogun 2 Total Fall of the Samurai mod United States campaign playthrough. And today it's going to be the final part of this campaign. It's going to be, well, Steamroller Central, if I'd have to guess. We're just going to march through all these individual clans that are in the way, that do not belong in our new empire. Bam, we lost a bunch of units, but it doesn't matter. We will simply replenish them. I have so many armies being recruited that honestly losing a couple doesn't matter. It does not put a damper on our plans, not in the least. But as you can see, the clan of Gojo Hachiman has also decided that they want to stand against us. So let's bring our armies to bear. And let's teach them a thing or two about what it means to stand against us. In terms of your health, it's not very beneficial, let me put it that way. It's not very beneficial for you to stand in the way of democracy, let's call it. Yes, democracy. This general gained another rank, so we can go defender and +5 campaign movement range. That's obviously very good. And as for the armies that suffered casualties, I have another bunch of units being recruited over here. They're volunteer infantry because we actually ran the cap of colonial foot infantry, or foot colonial infantry, so we cannot recruit them anymore. I recruited a few too many, it seems, and well, a majority of my armies are now filled with colonial foot infantry, so it would make sense that we actually managed to cap out our colonial foot infantry potential, so to say. But as you can see, the enemy is mustering against us. Very cool of them, which means that we will probably have a little bit of a battle. Honestly, good thing, because it's always cool to have a little bit of a battle. But we can see all of our armies mustering now. These two armies can merge. No, they can't merge, but we can do at least something like this. There we go. So we have a full stack and well, let's say a half stack, so to say. And our armies are mustering over here. This army can in fact join this army. So have a little bit more of a concentrated force. These armies are gonna group together and deal with what's coming. This contingent of force can reinforce South Shinano, and these two armies can start making their way towards Echu, or I think these armies will be enough to deal with Mino, or the city of Mino, which is controlled by the clan of Gojo Hachiman. Gojo Hachiman, yes, very easy to say, just rolls off the tongue very easily. I think I'll let these troops over here replenish, and then we'll do something with them. No rush, and no reason to rush in getting them into combat just to get evaporated again. It seems that we are at such a stage of the game where the colonial foot infantry just isn't as good as it was in the early game, obviously. And actually, it seems that Gojo Hachiman has, let's get through all these events, is actually eyeing the conquest of one of our territories. So let's not allow them to do that. These two armies can head down south just to prevent any sort of incursion that it might have, and these armies can begin their march towards the city of Mino, which will completely capture and have no problem doing so. Yes, indeed. These three armies in South Shinano for the time. Let's actually build a fortress, because why not build a district? We are swimming in cash at the moment. This army, what is it? Lots of generals, Katana Samurai, Katana Ashigaru, just the same old standard, old school Shogun 2 vanilla army that we've seen several times used by the traditional clans against us. Lots of cavalry, lots of generals, lots of melee infantry, probably going to punch a hole through our, actually, mounting unrest, but alliance broken between, the Qing Empire, Joseon Kingdom. Never mind, I thought it was something related to us. But here we go. Let's bring our armies to bear against this army. It decided to retreat. Very sad, very sad. So let's continue on and let's have another go. Can't reach them. Unfortunate. This army can, however, reach Mino and can auto-resolve and with a devastating victory bring the city of Mino under our control. This means that these armies can now probably start heading towards the city of Hida, since they will receive a replenishment even while they are on their way. Since it's our territory, we receive a replenishment in our territory. And actually, the army disappeared. I thought that they would turn into rebels, but I guess not. So, very interesting state of affairs. So actually, let me think what I want to do with these armies. Probably actually start bringing them northwards. Yeah, as crazy as it sounds and as strange as it seems, we probably want to start bringing these armies northwards, because we will obviously soon have to crush the Northern Alliance to cement our control of northern Japan. And I think these 4 armies over here will be just good enough to capture the city of Hida, the city of Ichu, Kaga, Noto, and then eventually to go against Echizen and Wakasa. And I also have another army over here, another army over here. So the western flank of our empire, or not empire, democratic holding, let's call it, of our little democratic holding is going to be quite well reinforced. No reason why we should worry. So let's start bringing these armies up north. And I'm also building a little bit of an army over here. Let's see, anything recruiting. I'm actually starting recruiting Montgomery Guards, so that we have a little bit of variety in our armies. It's always good to have a little bit of variety, but now because we lost a bunch of our units in that battle, we can also queue up a bunch of colonial foot infantry as well. Can we recruit in any of these? No, we can't. But what that might also mean is that it's time to break our alliance with the Northern Alliance. Where are they? Here we go. Northern Alliance, cancel alliance. Bam, there we go. And we can also cancel military. No, let's actually pull a sneaky on them. No, actually, never mind. Never mind, I already did it. So let's not pull a sneaky on them. And United States of America and Northern Alliance, 2 great factions. Also building up an army here with a bunch of Marines. So let's see how they perform. And in this city, which I won't pronounce, let's start building some colonial foot infantry as well. We won't really bother with the city of Sado, controlled by Sado. Well, won't really bother with them. They're out of the way. Let them be. Let them sit on their little island. But yeah, so the advance continues. And okay, it's basically time to march against the city of Hida. No reason to have any sort of diplomatic pop-up. They do not have any allies. So let's go. Let's go forward and let's, well, crush them, so to say. We have lots of armies bearing down on a single city, so this should be relatively easy. Bam. There we go, lost 66 troops, let's peacefully occupy. And next on the chopping block is going to be Echu, then Kaga, and then Noto. Alright, time to go for the city of Echu. Very simple, just as it's always been, easy, so it will be easy now as well. Let's go over here and let's try and go for the city. Never mind, we can't quite reach the city, but we'll do so shortly. Alright, here we go. Time to take the city of Echu. Can we make it? Yes, we can. Absolutely dominant performance. Bam, there we go. Our general gains another rank. Michael, what was his name? Michael's Curtis. Very interesting, but this should be his first rank. Yes, indeed. Favorite mount or morale of war. Yeah, probably gonna go with that. And then let's go aggressor. And the city of Kaga, they have cavalry barracks who have been demolished. In fact, we shouldn't really have any issue with just going forward and crushing them like this. Yeah, there we go. 2 for 1. 2 cities captured in one turn. Very cool. And next up is the city of Noto, which we are actually at war with. So very surprising. Probably the clan that held Kaga also holds Noto, but there we go. Managed to rapidly advance, and yeah, the advance endlessly continues. Alright, here we go. Time to take up the city of Noto. Let's move up all of our armies. Bam, the army retreated, but the city itself is now up for the taking. Very easy battle. Bam, there we go. Peacefully occupied. The army is now controlled by rebels, so we'll wipe them out in the next turn. But that concludes the cleanup. Very easy, very steamroller-ish display of prowess by the United States Army. But hey, what can you do? So next up on the list is the Northern Alliance. And it's gonna take a while before my armies get there, but we will get there. Alright, it took a while, but here we are. Time to march on. Declare war. They have some sort of ally, but they won't be joined by that ally. And let's march forward with all of our forces towards the city of Miyagi over here. So just like in the Prussian campaign, we are now pushing north. Even though in the Prussian campaign we first pushed north, but now it's time to push north as the United States as well. Alright, here we are at the city of Miyagi. Time to bring all of our armies to bear against them. I think 3 should be sufficient, and the rest of them can start heading north towards the city of Uzen, which will be also taking, capturing, and claiming as our own for the sake of democracy. As peacefully occupy, not much here to add. Let's build a railway company, why not? Let's build some communal farming and fishing wharf, and let's continue on. Alright, here we are, city of Uzen time. Very simple. There should be, yeah, no even reason to bring up the other armies. Peacefully occupy. Completely simple, basic, and nothing to worry about. But the city of Ugo is going to be... How do I even get there? Oh, I guess we can head this way. I suppose that's the way we'll get there. But, yeah, whatever. Continuing on. Alright, the city of Iwate is within striking distance. And yeah, there we go. Should be completely easy. Nothing to worry about. So the, let's build a basic industry building. Why not? And these two armies can start heading north towards the city of Aomori with the clan of Hirosaki, with a very sus symbol, so to say. And the Northern Alliance now has, well, all they have is the city of Ugo, which will be capturing very, very quickly. Okay, city of Ugo time. Time to take the last remaining settlement of the Northern Alliance. With they haven't really built up at all, even though they own the entirety of northern Japan, which is quite a shame to see. But peacefully occupy, and powerful faction destroy Northern Alliance. There we go. We have managed to crush them. Now all that's left in the north is the city of Hirosaki, and we will capture it momentarily. Alright. How many times have I said alright this campaign, by the way? Let me know in the comments if you are one of the knowers. And here we actually see a French, what is it? Army with the general of Matsuda Yasutake. Maybe a defector, it seems. It seems like it might be a defector, but there we go. The entirety, let's promote a general. There we go, we have another general. We haven't really gotten a lot of these promotion events this campaign, which is why I'm running so very thin on generals. But there we go. With the north captured, it's time to march. It's time to march against the British one last time. It's time to take up arms against the British in the island of Japan in Total War Shogun 2. Total Fall of the Samurai United States campaign playthrough. It's quite a mouthful, my titles, as was per usual, but let's clean this up. There we go. Echizen is ours. That is very good indeed. And next up is Wakasa. The British do have some armies over here, but we should be able to just block their path. block their path by standing over here. And they might send an army over to Kawachi, but there's no way they will manage to get to it sooner than we managed to get to Wakasa. And with the capture of Wakasa, that's going to be this campaign fulfilled. Onwards we go towards the city of Wakasa. Another turn, another opportunity to dunk and destroy our enemies. And dunk on our enemies, I guess. The British in this case. Bam, there we go. And peacefully occupy. And with that capture, ooh, the British have activated. Let's see if we could get a peace negotiation with them just to request peace. Deal is unacceptable. Oh well, doesn't matter. We have won this campaign very handily. And if I were to continue playing, I'd obviously swing. We probably would lose like Kawachi. This army really isn't the best. These two armies holding the line aren't the most elite, so maybe I would retreat with this army to Yamashiro, and they might capture one of these two cities. Possibly they would go towards the city of Omi. We would see how things would play out. But I have so many armies in the northern region that I would just swing down, possibly even send these two armies down south as reinforcements, and we would push the British back without any real issue. But that would take a lot of time, and I'm not here to capture the entirety of the Japanese Isles. What I wanted at the beginning of the campaign was to capture exactly this. We might be even a little bit more westward, but then I imagined we would have our border around here, but we are a little bit more westward. So capture the entirety of central Japan, the entirety of eastern Japan, and northern Japan. France holds obviously these islands over here, but it doesn't matter. We have captured enough. Our dominance within the Japanese Isles is undeniable, and I want to thank you, Kings, for watching very much. Hopefully enjoyed. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you next time.